and welcome to my kitchen. I'm Judith. Today we're going to do one of my very favorite lamb recipes. Now this recipe comes from a cookbook that my mom gave me many years ago, and I just realized it's actually a first edition. It's not that old, so it's not worth anything really. I don't think it's in production anymore, but it is from 1977, and she did give it to me when I was about 20 in 1977. I have had this cookbook all that time. I use it regularly, and this is one of my very favorite recipes in it. So the halibut recipe that I listed as my favorite halibut recipe also comes from this book. And surprisingly, James Beard was one of the editors. I just discovered that. I never realized that before. So today we are making a Navarin of lamb. Navarin is a French term that just basically means lamb stew. Although part of the name is very similar to the French name for turnip, apparently. I don't generally put a turnip in it, and the recipe I have does not call for a turnip. But we're going to do that, just in honor of whatever. So, lamb, rib chops, new potatoes, carrot, turnip, onion, and normally I would use pearl onions, but today I don't have any pearl onions. I have these beautiful capicola onions, which I love. And by the way, when you're shopping for onions, check whether they're round or flat. If you want sweet onions, get the flat ones. Unless they're actually listed as sweet onions. But apparently, the flatter the onion, the sweeter it is. And these little capicola onions are absolutely delicious. So that's what we're using today. So first things first, we're going to flour our lamb chops in just some seasoned flour, and then brown the outsides, and they will go in a casserole. Alright, you got your pan hot, you got some vegetable oil in it, and I do use avocado oil, but you could use any vegetable oil you prefer. Coat your lamb chops in seasoned flour, shake off the excess, and place them in the pan. And we're going to brown them on all sides. And keep the rest of your seasoned flour. You're going to need it later. Now that our lamb chops are browned on all sides, we're going to put them into our casserole. A single layer in the bottom. There we go. And on top of that, we're going to add our chopped onion, our turnip, and the sliced carrot. The next step is to make the sauce for it. This is where our seasoned flour comes in again. So if you have a lot of oil in your pan, drain off all but a tablespoon or so. And we're going to add seasoned flour to it. Now I'm not making as much as the recipe indicates it will make. I am cutting down the amounts here. And you just want to cook this for a little bit, let it absorb all the oil. I'm just going to let that cook for a minute because we want to cook the rawness out of the flour. Once you let your flour cook, slowly add your hot broth. Now yes, it is going to clump up. Don't worry about it. We are going to strain it later. So just whisk it and get as many of those clumps broken up as you can. You can use beef stock or chicken stock. I generally use chicken. Now, the more you whisk it, the more of those lumps will break up. So you should be able to get rid of most of them. I'm just going to let it cook a little bit to thicken. Okay, now that it actually looks like it's going to thicken properly, we didn't add too much liquid, we're going to add some tomato puree. I have just a heaping teaspoon or so, and stir that in. Just give it a good whisk in. Now we're going to bring that to a boil. Our sauce is starting to boil. Give it a little bit of a stir. At this point, you want to make sure you have a sieve ready. Just set it in your casserole. So now I'm going to take our sauce off the burner and pour it through the sieve. So you really don't get a lot. I mean, as long as you stirred it. Don't worry about it not completely covering everything, because the vegetables will release quite a bit of liquid. I am always amazed at the end how much more sauce there is than what I put in the casserole. So, our next step. And of course, it wouldn't be me cooking if I didn't forget something. Supposed to have a bouquet garni in there. I am not going to bother to tie it up. We're just going to take the herbs, shove them in, squish them around tight. Let's get a bay leaf. I did have all the herbs ready. I just completely forgot. Put the bay leaf in there. There we go. Meanwhile, you need to put your little onions in a pot of cold water. Turn it on to high, bring it to a boil, then immediately take them off the heat, strain them, and you should be able to peel them very easily. Turn the burner off, and then we remove them from the heat. We're going to skin our onions. They do soften really quickly, so do not leave them in the hot water any longer than you have to. Like, basically bring it to a boil, get them off right away. Especially if you're using the little pearl onions. The other thing we're going to do at this point is clean up and cut our potatoes. Now the recipe says new potatoes and peel them. I don't know about you, but peeling a new potato is next to impossible. I just use yellow flesh potatoes like a Yukon Gold or a small white nugget, whatever they've got. And I'm just going to slice them in half. So after about an hour and a quarter, you can pull your casserole out. Should be nice and bubbly. Now we're going to put our onions and our potatoes in. I'm trying not to shove our herbs down into it, so we just push them aside. Because we do want to remove those herbs before we serve it. But we do want to get these in there. Get them pushed down in like as much as we can. There we go. Now at this point you could add, actually you could have added some salt and pepper earlier, but just salt and pepper it. I tend not to use a lot of salt and pepper when I'm cooking, just as needed. Just going to throw some in there. Potatoes always need a lot of salt. So then we're going to cover it back up and put it back in the oven for half an hour. It's out of the oven. Let's take the lid off. Ooh, looks wonderful. First thing we have to do is remove that herbs from the top, and it is going to be delicious. So this is Navarin of Lamb. I make this quite often, and it is so tasty. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked the recipe. Please subscribe, help me grow my channel, give it a thumbs up, click the bell icon, that way you will get notified when I put up a new video. I do them weekly. Sometimes you get a bonus one, so there's occasionally 2 a week. I appreciate you all for watching. Thank you so much, and I'll see you again soon.